What is up, YouTube? My name is Baini. Welcome to my channel. Today I'll be sharing with you how I made this massive plaster art that's painted with coffee and green tea. Before we get into today's tutorial, if you're not subscribed, now would be a really good time to subscribe. Turn on bell notifications. Please support your girl. I promise you will always find inspiration here. Okay, so today's plaster art tutorial video is going to be unlike any other that you've ever seen. And that is because this process, this art is ultra personal to me. It is a part of my Brutalist collection where I create pieces that tell a story that is raw and unfiltered. This is also my largest wall sculpture to date, so I'm really excited to take you all on this journey with me. But anyway, I'm starting off by stapling my piece of flexible wire mesh to the back of my canvas. When in doubt, your wire mesh should be double the size of your canvas. The easiest way for me to tackle this sculpture was for me to staple the wire mesh to the canvas on the two longest ends, the length. This serves as an anchor for the wire mesh for when you begin to mold and shape it to create your sculpture. And so I am gently working the wire, molding and checking to see what works, how best to make my vision come alive, and mapping out the frame for my artwork. Once I feel comfortable proceeding, I start using a hot glue gun to tape the wire to the canvas. I always like to stress the importance of just always making sure to take a step back and check and recheck your work to make sure that you're happy with the shape that you've come up with and what you're doing before you get too far along in the process. Because the canvas is bigger than the overall dimension of my wire mesh, I ended up having to go in with an additional piece of wire mesh for the bottom part of the canvas. Once I am done creating the base frame for my sculpture, my next step is to cover the wire mesh with a layer of plaster bandages. To do this, you can either cut your plaster bandages into small pieces, dip them in water and layer over your wire mesh, or in doing, use a wet brush to layer your dry plaster bandages over the wire mesh. The purpose of the plaster bandage is to provide a layer of barrier that prevents your plaster mixture from falling through the wire mesh. But I've also seen other people use just gauze or cloth as alternatives, so just use what works best for you. Once the surface of my plaster art is completely covered in a layer of plaster bandages, I'm going in with my plaster or my joint compound mixture and layering that over the artwork. I spent the first week or two focusing on the front of the artwork, building up the layers so that it would become solid or be strong enough, I should say, to take the weight of the artwork so that I could work on the back. So I ended up building about 10 to 12 layers on the front of the artwork before even working on the back. And again, this is really crucial because you want to make sure that you have a strong enough sculpture when you're turning it on its face to work on the back so that it doesn't cave in. The number of layers you plan to apply should also be determined by how thick or thin your plaster or joint compound mixture is and the overall weight of your art. I used a thinner mixture for the front, so I opted to build up. Here I am working on the back of the canvas, beginning by covering exposed parts of the wire mesh with plaster bandages. I also often prefer to cover the wooden frame of the canvas just to give the sculpture a more cohesive look. Next, I'm adding in layers of my joint compound mixture, and while I am using a much thinner mixture here, I should state that my preference, especially working on the back, is to go in with a much thicker paste to build volume right away. After working on the back of the plaster sculpture, I added a couple more layers to the front of the artwork before proceeding to the next step. I let the artwork dry fully for about 2 to 3 days before proceeding into the sanding phase of my process. And y'all, I was so excited to just be to this point. I had to do a little dance. My hands had been killing me going back and forth layering the sculpture, so allow me. Anyway, I put on my respirator mask on, got my sanding papers, and go right down to sanding this piece. The pieces in my Brutalist collection are often characterized by rough edges, so I am not looking to get an ultra smooth finish. After lightly sanding it, it is ready for the next step, which is painting, in which I do exclusively by painting with coffee and green tea. Now, this part of the process, I can't really teach you because it's going based on a lot of emotions and intuition and just a vision for what I want to create, which isn't something I can necessarily teach, but I hope that you're just able to see my process. You see, this artwork is called Scarred, and for me, it is a celebration of the scars that we acquired through various life experiences, kind of a nod to those events that shape us, and an encouragement to embrace the beauty of who we're becoming as a result of these experiences. And so, a lot of the works in this collection for me are deeply emotive, and I use them to express certain feelings that I can only portray by being an artist, I guess. This is a very special collection to me, and I understand that this art might not be for everyone because I am not necessarily looking to make art that is beautiful. The complete goal of this collection is to make you feel something, even if that's disgust. And so my general technique for this piece is painting the artwork with coffee and green tea, which I derived by really just soaking my coffee grinds or my green tea in hot water and adding plaster bandages to the surface of some of these pieces to depict scars in varying stages. Once the art was dry, I sealed it with a spray varnish, and this is the final look. I would love to hear your thoughts. Let me know what you think in the comment section. I understand that this might not be everyone's cup of tea, so if it's not yours, please keep your comments kind and respectful, okay? As you can probably guess, I'm in love with it. I cannot wait to make more in this collection. The nostalgia that it brings to me is something that I need in my life. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already. All of the links will be left in the description, and I'll see you on my next video. Bye.